Welcome everyone, this is Dan from Main Deck, and I am super excited to go over our annual tier list video. I've been waiting for a year to do this. I've been very excited because last year when we did this tier list, we did it right in the middle of our Extra Life stream. I was already getting kind of sleep deprived when we did it, but it was sort of thrown together last minute and it wasn't super comprehensive. The cardigan Bobo came from Target. Here to pretend Gate Ruler is a real game people play. Yes, it is on the list. It's technically still alive. It meets the criteria, and we'll talk about that in a sec. So when I did the list last year, I didn't have every game kind of comprehensively planned out. There are a few things that shouldn't have been on there. Super Show should not have been on there. It's not an actual TCG. It's really following more of an expandable card game model, so it doesn't quite fit the bill. There are some randomized packs, but they're for like alternate art stuff. So yeah, we have criteria. Let's talk about the criteria right now. So you can see most of the list here. I'm sorry, my face is covering some of it, but the list of TCGs that we're going to be going over today are exclusively TCGs that are in standard, meaning like hobby level North American distribution. That means all of these TCGs are ones where I've gone and double checked with all of them. They are orderable or were orderable at their release windows through channels like Southern Hobby, Peach State, GTS. Those, you know, the standard distributors that if you go to your LGS, they're going to order their cards from. So I'm not covering the indie TCGs that are self-distributed. So people are going to ask about things. I'm going to try and catch some YouTube comments right now. People are going to ask about things like, where's Illustrals? Where is, boy, I don't know. They'll ask about a bunch. There's a bunch. I'm sure there's a million little TCGs, you know, where's Rise? That's maybe one that people ask about. Stuff like that. Okay. If you're wondering where a TCG is, it's probably not in standard distribution yet. Or it won't be, or something like that. So I'm only covering the ones in North American standard distribution. So no fake TCGs, in other words, Bobo. It depends on your definition, but I would say I would not call them fake TCGs, but some of them are ones that need to grow a little bit. Some of them are ones that are probably going to die. That's just how it goes with the Kickstarter world. Welcome ZTR God, welcome in. So we're covering only those games, and they have to have had a release in 2023 Forsaken, so Austin Powers doesn't count. And they have to have a planned future release. And for some of these, I had to go dig up whether or not they did. For example, Gate Ruler. And Gate Ruler does indeed have a planned printed future release. So that's about all I can really do to try and figure out whether or not I think it's quote unquote alive. But we're covering living TCGs in standard North American distribution. And the way I'm going to be grading these TCGs is going to be largely... It's sort of like a holistic view of things is what I'm trying to do. So it's going to be impossible for me to divorce my opinion from, you know, where some of these go. There's some of these TCGs that I think are simply like, I like the game better than other ones. Hey, welcome Evil. Rip Zatchbell. Yeah, that's an old one too. That's around the era of Austin Powers also. I think a little after. Austin Powers getting robbed because it's not currently being printed. A lot of TCGs are that way. A lot of TCGs getting robbed. Hey, you know, if it makes you feel any better, I've got my Austin Powers cards right here. I always keep them next to me. Look, we have let's see. I have Austin Powers all shagged out. There he is. Right there. So I've got the Austin Powers love right here, but we're not going to be covering the tier list. So I'm going to be attempting to make this list sort of a, if someone were to Google, like, what are the best TCGs or what's the ranking of the best TCGs, I can't really do that without trying to be as comprehensive as possible. It'd be a lot easier for me to sit down and just say, here's the best TCGs, in my opinion, by gameplay. Here's the best ones by player base. Here's the best one by how easy they are to learn. And in fact, I did a few videos like that you can check out on YouTube. Oh, it's Kevin. Hey, yo, welcome, Kevin. There's a few videos that I posted over the last couple months on YouTube. Easy to learn TCGs, competitive TCGs, casual TCGs. There's so many different facets you can rank TCGs on, but I'm going to try to be really comprehensive with this. So things I'm considering are how good is the gameplay? How good is the organized play support? How easy is it to find players for this TCG? How good is the company's support for the TCG? What are the prospects for this TCG in the future? Like, is it looking good? Is it looking gate ruler? One of those two, right? It's either good or gate ruler, somewhere in between. How many Super Show fans can we piss off tonight? Hopefully none. We're not actually including Super Show at all. Dusk Bunny, yo, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming in here tonight. Appreciate it. Yeah, I intend to not piss off Super Show fans this time because, although maybe I already did because I called it not a TCG and maybe they'll argue with me. But the other thing is that so bringing up Super Show, these games have to use a normal TCG model. So they have to sell booster packs and starter decks and that kind of stuff. So there are some games like expandable card games. Keyforge doesn't quite count for that. So Keyforge is not included in this list. Yo, what up, Jub? Welcome, welcome. So anyway, that's my explanation of everything. Now, I think we can go ahead and start jumping into ranking these games. And what I'm going to do when I'm ranking these games, I want you guys to chime in and just let me know what you think. Oh, Ashes was a fun game, Capo. I liked Ashes. Ashes was cool. Let me know what you think of these rankings. I'm going to go ahead and hold them up. Feel free, pop in chat. Give me the thumbs up, thumbs down, or let me know if it's trash or God tier or whatever you need to, okay? So, at the start of this list is going to be kind of brutal, actually. We're going to just go alphabetically through this list. All right. So if y'all are ready, we're starting off our tier list with Akora TCG. So Akora was one of these Kickstarter games. It was on the list last year, actually. It was a Kickstarter game that came out shortly after kind of the Grand Archive Nostalgix era. And Akora did, but it released before those, actually. They got the release out faster. Or maybe it was slightly before them, now that maybe I'm mixing my timeline up. But regardless, it got into distribution, and it completely, fell flat on its face. If you guys caught on YouTube, I did a bunch of polling the last month, the whole month, basically, of polls. Oh, interesting, Red Deck Try. So I did polls asking if you're does your LGS support events for X game? And there's some slight skew to that. Like the Grand Archive is, I think, skewed a little higher because we have a lot of Grand Archive viewers on our channel, stuff like that. But it did give me a good little perception of kind of where everything was. And Akora was one of the absolute lowest on the list. It had either 1 or 2% of responders saying that they had locals. So Red Deck Try says it's actually popular at their shop. They have one of the top players and they're brute forcing its existence here. So Red Deck, I think you're one of the 5 shops in the world on, and frankly, it hasn't caught on. I'm not saying it couldn't, but I'm saying it's unlikely. I have to put Akora at D tier because this is okay. So full disclosure, I'm going to give full disclosure on everything with my experience with everything. So I haven't actually played a game of Akora, but I tried to do my due diligence with everything. So I've watched gameplay. I've listened to people talking about it positively, trying to, just wrap my head around things. And frankly, I don't think the gameplay system of Akora is super wonderful myself. It's not something that interests me. I don't think the graphic design is done very well. I know there's some people who appreciate the graphic design. Lamestream media terms. Full disclosure is a good thing. Yeah, pretty Cody. Yep, game you've never heard of right away. So that's how it is. I think there are people who like the graphic design of Akora, but I think it is not very aesthetically good to look at. And I think Akora is not a game that is going to last a very long time, unfortunately. So they have had to kickstart several sets too. That's usually not a wonderful sign. Usually you want to get your Kickstarter to kind of get the game pumping into sort of a standard business model. Kickstarter business models, then you're losing overhead to Kickstarter every time too. Akora's D tier. That's where I have to put it. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but it's a lot of you just don't even know about it. So feel free to let me know. We're just going to keep moving on though, so we're not here all night. Okay, so the next game on the list is Alpha Clash, which is another game that people might not have heard of, but I think I'd actually guess there's a higher amount of people who know about Alpha Clash. So my full disclosure for Alpha Clash is that, again, I haven't played it. I've watched it played. However, this just arrived in the mail today. So I was sent a package from Ridge Kiley's his name. The Rising Empire Studios is the company's name. So Ridge sent me a package of Clash Grounds, which is their latest set. I'm not being bribed. You're about to be very sure that I'm not being bribed. So Alpha Clash is a game that plays a lot like Dragon Ball Super. I listened to sort of some of the backstory from Ridge. He hopped on like the Hobbies and Happiness podcast to talk, and has been all over the place talking. Ridge seems like a really, really cool guy. I think Ridge seems awesome. Ridge is very passionate. He really likes games. He really liked Dragon Ball Super, and in a way, he just kind of set out to make his own version of it. So Alpha Clash plays kind of like Superhero Dragon Ball Super, but they replaced the combo system with some equipment and stuff. Because it's based on Dragon Ball Super, but it actually took out the thing that I thought was like the biggest noob trap, I guess, mechanic in the game, which is that combo system. It's a decent gameplay system. I don't know anything about the balance. I didn't like the artwork for set 1, but I think the artwork for set 2 is a lot better. And I think Ridge really cares about this company and really wants the game to succeed, and is going to push to try and do the rare feat of making a superhero TCG succeed. But that said, the player base is small for the game right now. Again, on our sort of our polling that we did, Alpha Clash was lower in the percentages of LGSs hosting it. I can actually get the number. Let me grab the number quick, so I can have that for all these TCGs when it's relevant. But the game itself, I think it's a solid game. But the big thing is that it really is going to be in this sort of like this Kickstarter trap area where it's going to be trapped in having low uptake by the general community for a long time. It has to figure out how to grow. So Alpha Clash came in our polling. We had 300 votes and 3% of votes. So about 9 people reported that their their LGS had Alpha Clash tournaments. So Alpha Clash, I'm gonna give a C to, I think, right now. Yo, Kanto, welcome. I think I'd put Alpha Clash at a C right now. C being a rating where I think the game is not without merit. I think there's definitely merit there. It's going to have an uphill struggle right now. If you sit down to try and find tournaments, you're going to have a little bit of trouble. You're probably going to have to be the one to start tournaments in your local area. But this is a C. This is a C like on a potential upward trend if they can start to address their player base problem and actually grow the game. They just announced a huge like $250,000 circuit, competitive circuit. Kanto, do you want to play BSS tomorrow? I'm sorry, Kanto, I forgot to respond to you in DMs. Tomorrow we have our Sword Champs for Grand Archive, and I might be able to play a few games with you after that, but I'm not sure how late that's going to go. We have to do top 8 for that and everything, so it might go a little late, so you're welcome to come down. I can't guarantee when we'd be able to start the games. Anyway, so Alpha Clash has a lot of potential, and I'm excited for the studio's potential to try and draw that out and build it into a game, but right now it's on the low. But it's on the low, potentially rising. So that's why I put Alpha Clash at C. So speaking of BSS, thank you for bringing it up, Kanto. Let's talk about Battle Spirits Saga. Do you have any strong opinions about Battle Spirits Saga in the chat? BSS died day 1 at my shop. Too much competition, and it looks so cluttered, both in the cards and all the little knickknacks. I think Silidar from the Grand Archive dev team was looking at it when it came out and pointed out that there were like 5 or 6 different fonts on the Battle Spirits cards, which is maybe like a little excessive. They definitely look cluttered. I like the game system. BSS deserves so much better than Bandai. That's probably the best way to put it. If you guys have talked to me much about Bandai, you know I'm a little lower on Bandai. I think Bandai has some issues as a company as far as like long-term support, where their development team kind of comes from and focuses on, and how dedicated they have. They shift development teams when they feel like they need to in order to try and get a game to be better or something. And when they shift those teams, there's sometimes drastic changes in how the games play. I'm not a fan of how they do their banless systems for Digimon, at least, but Battle Spirits at least. So Battle Spirits has the advantages of being an English only, a Western only release. So it's not like lagging behind Japan and dealing with that banless stuff. And they've done some Western sensibility stuff to it by focusing on, like cash prizes and things like that. But the game has not caught on like they want it to. The 3 levels on the cards make an intimidating game to teach. That's kind of an interesting take. I don't think it's intimidating to teach, but it's really like not that complicated to teach. Breath of Fresh Air being a longtime MTG player. Yeah, I agree. Like it's a unique game, and I like the system. I think the core system is like actually really fun to play with. I think the levels are really cool and interesting. It might be a more convoluted, this is going to sound weird. It might be a more convoluted One Piece in some ways though. Because One Piece kind of does that system where you can either use your resources to play things or you can use them to power up your units, but it's a lot more streamlined. On the other hand, that, you know, gives more, maybe potential more complexity as far as like in positive complexity to Battle Spirit Saga. The big issue Battle Spirit Saga has though is Bandai hasn't found their like casual player base, and they're not going to get it by just putting $1 million prize pools on the line. They need casual players to come in and support the game to get the prices to stabilize in any respect. And the only thing they have coming up for it is Evangelion, which is like a cool IP, but not one that's, I think, going to get a large swath of casual players into the game. Yeah, resolving mulligans and deciding to go first is just bizarre. I agree, Kanto. It's super, super wild. I'm going to put Battle Spirits in C tier. Battle Spirits feels like a C tier game to me. Right now, it's a game that could go up because I think the gameplay system is good, but it's held back by Bandai having no idea how to get a player base for it. Avril Lavigne isn't helping. She did her one Instagram post, got her paycheck, and that's it. We got collabs with ProZD. I like ProZD. The ProZD, Game Grumps, and Avril Lavigne, and the Tamagotchi collab thing. But that was just Bandai grabbing one of their IPs. It's BSS tier. Yeah, its name is already tiers. I'm putting it in C tier, I think, for this though. I think it's an easy C tier. All right, Cardfight Vanguard. Cardfight Vanguard. Okay, so Cardfight Vanguard is our first Bushiroad game. I can't even get TCG fans to watch the really solid new anime, let alone actually try Cardfight Vanguard. If they would have released Avril cards, BS is easy S tier. Yeah, so Cardfight is a good game. Like, I legit think Cardfight is a good game. I think Cardfight has had a lot of complexity creep over time. I'm not a huge fan of the archetypal release structure that they use, where like you have to play the particular faction that you want to, and it's only released every so often in new sets. I don't love that system. And the other thing about Bushiroad is that Bushiroad refuses to do cash OP, and I love it or hate it, cash OP is a factor that does get people to play games. If Battle Spirit Saga didn't have cash OP, the game would have been dead already. Cash OP was the only thing that got Battle Spirits off the ground. But now they need to find casual players or they're not going to sustain, right? Cardfight has sustained fine because it has that anime and it was able to get a long-term player base. You don't think BSS could be more dead? It could be more dead, Kevin. It could be. This main deck, Kevin, by the way, in the comments, it could be more dead, but it's not in a great spot right now. But from everything I hear, you know, Bandai's really trying. So we'll see if they do some more. Like, they did a nice drastic thing where they started to pull back product from distributors to reduce the amount in the economy of set 1 and 2 to try and like lift the price back up, which is they're making good moves. Yeah, like I was saying, it's like the prize pool is part of a TCG being successful, but you have to get a casual player base too. Yeah, Bandai has the money. They'll keep it going as long as they want to. I think Vanguard, the other thing about Vanguard is it's very regional dependent. If your region has Vanguard stores, like Vanguard's hot. If your region doesn't, nobody cares. And it's like, it's weird because it's such a big game in the regions where it's hot, and it's a dead game where it's not. There's like no in between those two things.
Hi.
Yo, welcome, Lee Noko. Hey, welcome. Lee Noko's here to spy on where we put UniVersus, I'm sure. We'll get there. That's gonna be towards the end. I'm gonna put Vanguard in B tier. I don't know how you guys feel about that. So looking at our polling for Vanguard, by the way, I'll go ahead and pull up the polling for Vanguard. Vanguard polled at 19%. So 19% was actually, that's a pretty good number. There's a lot of games that polled at about 20% range for tournaments. I feel like 20% of random people on YouTube responding that there are indeed LGSs that run them in their area is actually like pretty solid numbers to keep a game alive. So I think that's good. I think that's actually a pretty good thing. And I think I feel safe putting Vanguard at B tier here. I think it's a good game. I think the regional dependency is the issue. And I think the complexity creep, and yeah, like you're saying, Red Deck, the locking cards to Vanguards and stuff. I actually am not super familiar with the nation change you're talking about, but yeah, if it's anything like the old clan system still, like it sounds, by the way, I want to step back and say, if they made a change where they open it up, that is a positive for Vanguard. But they need to really commit to opening it up to make the game improve in that regard. I'm going to put it a solid B tier. And by the way, if I haven't said it yet, I'm going to put a game you like. I'm going to put a game you like at a lower tier because I have to fill these tiers up. Like, I can't just say, well, you know what? Kanto likes BSS, so it's S tier. I can't just, it might be S tier for you. That's fine. But I'm going to do my best to try and provide a gradient of where these games live. And it's totally cool to like games that I put at a lower tier. And that doesn't mean they're bad games, but it means I'm just trying to weigh as many things as I can. WiXoss is certainly on here. Yep, WiXoss is on here. It's currently covered up by my face. So, sorry, it's right behind my face. The first 4 games give you faith that I might not completely botch the tier list. Yeah, I'm not going to. No, it's going to be a perfect tier list. Perfection. Dragon Ball Super card game. Okay, so I haven't split it into Masters and Fusion World yet because that doesn't happen until next year. You have 35 DBS decks, and as soon as Fusion World was announced, you lost a lot of faith. The Masters is supported another year, but your confidence is shot. Yeah. Okay, so DBS has a problem. DBS has a problem in that they currently have announced that they're supporting Masters and Super going forward, Masters and Fusion World going forward. But going head to head with FFTCG World Stream. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You should all head to the FFT. Is the FFTCG World Stream on Twitch? Gojira, can you send me a link in the main deck Discord or something? We can go raid it afterwards. I think that would be really cool. If it's on Twitch. If it's on YouTube, then we can't. Yeah, so here's what this is my prediction for DBS right now. First of all, DBS is a game that prior to the announcement of Fusion World, it felt like it was going to last kind of as long as it needed to because DBS has a strong casual collector purchasing base. Believe it or not. Does anybody play DBS? No. Yeah, I mean, yes. I know you're watching this. Yes, people do play. Yes, I want to be clear. That was a very, very hyperbolic no. But again, we did some polling, right? And we actually had DBS viewers on our channel too, so this could be slightly skewed too, but DBS came at 12%. Battle Spirit Saga, I didn't cover the polling for Battle Spirit Saga, so here's a comparison for you that might be kind of interesting. Battle Spirit Saga came in at 10% of LGSs supported it, which is not a good sign for the game. DBS had 12%, barely higher Then Battle Spirit Saga, which, as people say, you know, we've had people in chat saying that is a game that couldn't be more dead. It's not true, but it could be more dead. It could be less than 10%. Hey, Ragey Randall, welcome. Red Deck, exactly. DBS has players, has buyers, but players are actually uncommon. It's one of those tight-knit communities now. It's one of those, there's the group of dedicated players. They're playing on Untapped. They're finding webcam events, and they're attending like Battle Hour and that kind of stuff. They're there, but your odds of finding a DBS player at your local shop or DBS event at your local shop are very low. 1 in 10, more or less, right? Which, you know, and that's not D tier, right? But the problem is that I'm worried about Fusion World, because if Fusion World has this one piece effect and takes off because it's more streamlined and it's easier to get into and the cards look a little nicer or whatever, Masters is going to go downhill. I can't really rank Fusion World and Masters because they aren't out yet. I'm only ranking Dragon Ball Super as it is. Yeah, Jump. Exactly. Thank you. Kevin says, only one locals near me host DBS still. Can't get stores to sign up for the free Fusion World demo decks. That's rough. As a Panini Score player, this pleases me. Yeah, I mean, I can feel that. Do you like how Bandai is pretending the new one isn't a replacement? That's what's going to happen. I mean, I'm just going to throw my prediction out there and comment. Feel free to comment if you disagree with me. It might take a little time. It might take a couple of years, but I think that Fusion World is going to be the premier Dragon Ball Super game in a while, and Masters, or as we know it, the Dragon Ball Super card game is effectively dead. I'm gonna put it at C tier, low C tier, because of its prospects. The game itself is good, but like Alpha Clash is Dragon Ball Super, but a game that has like Alpha Clash is like high C tier, where like I think it has some prospects because even though it's a small company that's, you know, somewhat struggling to get off the ground, it's a dedicated company. The thing about the TCG market today is that it's a wider market where smaller games can exist for longer, but Bandai's a bigger company, and Bandai will cut the game off if they decide that it makes sense to. Whereas Alpha Clash is only going to cut the game off when Ridge like loses his house to it or something. Like that's the only time when it gets cut off. So Alpha Clash, I would actually put more confidence in starting right now than I would Dragon Ball Super. However, Fusion World, I think, would be a more reasonable start. Kevin agrees with the 2 years. Yep. Cool future Trunks deck. Yeah. Well, there probably will be. Kanto says, I like Broly because his power is ultimate. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Or as main deck Mike likes to say, Broily. Let's talk about a Bandai game with a little better prospects than Dragon Ball Super. So Digimon. Digimon's a great game. It is a good game. It is getting complexity creeped. You're going to hear that with every Bandai game that I talk about. They're all going to complexity creep. That's what Bandai does. And that's fine. Like, it happens to every card game, but it happens to Bandai games kind of faster than others. But Bobo puts quotes around better. Come on, they're better. They're better prospects than Dragon Ball Super. Digimon's a cool game. It uses the Chrono Clash system. It's got the clock, and as you play things, you spend clock, and then when you spend too much, your opponent gets to turn, and you go back and forth doing that. Clever. It's not my favorite Bandai game. I don't think it's the best Bandai game out there. But I think it's one of them. It's very popular. Digimon has a lot of popularity. Again, in our polling, Digimon came up at 45% of people reported that their LGS runs Digimon events, which I think might be a number that surprises some people. Digimon's a good game. Digimon is at least B tier. Digimon's at least B tier. Yeah, Kanto, right? That's kind of surprising. Memory system's good. It is definitely one of the Bandai games of all time. It's certainly one. It's one of them. It's one of them. I think it's at least B tier. I'm tempted to put it in A. Limelight, yo, welcome. Grand Archive S tier. That's coming. Grand Archive's coming soon. We'll see what you guys think of where I rank it. I think B tier is good for Digimon. Do we have like the Digimon stands in chat right now? Like, yeah, there are. Bobo, that we share an area, and the Digimon players are fierce there. There's a lot of them. It's definitely one of the stronger TCGs in the area. Man, should I put it in A tier? Should I put it in A tier? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is B or A tier right for Digimon? It could be A tier, but it's getting complex, and they have the ban list issue, which I think Bandai needs to solve. I think Bandai needs to solve their ban list issue. Digimon hard B tier. Should be a digital TCG fan, because Digimon should have a full digital client. Digimon, oh, by the way, welcome. Oh, Tatiana, you made it. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. Digimon is a unique niche as a creature anime rather than a hero shonen, kinda. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Always have fans. High B tier. There's definitely room for more than one collectible creature TCG. I agree. I agree. I agree. High B tier. I like high B tier. Yep, Gojira, Kevin, high B tier. Okay, high B tier is good for Digimon. We're gonna go with it. I like it. I like it. It should have a digital client. Exactly. I don't how Dragon Ball Super gets it before Dragon Ball Super Fusion World gets it before Digimon. I don't know. Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood, everyone. Flesh and Blood was S tier last year. I ranked Flesh and Blood S tier last year because it was popping off. Flesh and Blood was rocketing. Can't say Flesh isn't S tier. It's number one. Flesh and Blood is probably the strongest growing game. It has a massive player base at this point, and a massive influencer base. Like the content creators for Flesh and Blood, extremely popular. It's doing Flesh and Blood content is a great decision right now. Yes, I have played Flesh and Blood. I've played Flesh and Blood, and I've watched Flesh and Blood play. I've actually, since last year, I've watched more gameplay than I played. I haven't played it all since last year, but I've watched more gameplay than the amount I played last year is what I'm trying to say. Flesh and Blood is a good game. How to phrase this? When I played Flesh and Blood, I wanted to play other games more. Like, I wanted to play UniVersus more than I wanted to play Flesh and Blood. And they had felt very similar. Both games where you're attacking back and forth. I like the UniVersus system personally better, but I also think the Flesh and Blood system is very good. Biggest threat to MTG dominance and competitive? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You guys are all right. Flesh and Blood. So Flesh and Blood is one thing. Right now they're working out their Living Legends system. I think their Living Legends system is rotating heroes out too fast, potentially. Still gets purchased, but you only seen a couple people play it. Yeah, I mean, some places are really big Flesh and Blood, some aren't. Here, before I place it, let me give you the number here. So Flesh and Blood, we had a total of 368 responses to this poll, who reported that 51% of LGSs have Flesh and Blood events. Red Deck tries terrific 4-player kit. Yes, that product is awesome. Yep, I've seen people talking about that. I've watched some gameplay. Very good product. Flesh and Blood is still S tier. Flesh and Blood, I think you can't rank it lower than S tier right now. It still is it's like the game to beat. If you're any other card game right now, because going after MTG, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, those goals are too lofty. Going after Flesh and Blood, that's something you can compete with, but it's really charging ahead still. Top 3 of your shop? Yep, should be. It's about right. One store is super into it. You know anyone else? Well, if you're into like anime TCGs, you don't necessarily cross over. That's one thing is like Flesh and Blood grabbed a lot of the players who were disenchanted with Magic. Is it super expensive to play? So what you'll hear from people generally is that, first of all, like they're doing reprints and stuff that are keeping things a little more viable. But there are some expensive Fabled cards that you want to pick up for top tier competitive gameplay, but playing at just like a slight notch down from that is quite affordable from what I understand. Fab is aiming to make a big 4 and they're well on their way. I agree. If they keep on this route, they're gonna get there. Exactly, Red Deck. Thank you. Yep, that's 100% right. If you're disenchanted with MTG, you should look into Fab. Yeah, that's what you should do. There's some other games here too that you can look into, but Fab is definitely a good option. Fab's easy S tier. Yeah. I was kind of leading you guys on a little bit, but easy S tier. Exactly. You just go a notch lower, Kevin, and then you're good. You're good. Yeah, Kevin, you were disenchanted with UniVersus too, so maybe you should check out Fab. Maybe it'd be up your alley. Final Fantasy TCG. It is still alive. Do you know how many times I've heard this year? like people, like random people posting random social media posts like, well, Final Fantasy used to have a TCG. It still does. It's still getting sets. It's still getting sets. They got worlds going on right now. Sephiroth tier. Could be Cloud tier. Could be Bart's tier. Could be, who starts with A in Final Fantasy? I'm not sure. I can't. Aerith. Oh, Aerith. Sorry, Aerith tier. Could be Aerith tier. Could be. I don't know who. I don't know who starts with D. Airship tier. Jack Garland tier. Final Fantasy needs to advertise itself. Final Fantasy. Do you know how many missed opportunities there are? Yeah, if you're a Final Fantasy player, you know how many missed opportunities they've had to advertise this game. You should be logging into FF14 and getting ads for Final Fantasy TCG. FF14 should have a Final Fantasy 14 digital client right next to the Triple Triad one. Or Final Fantasy TCG digital client. Like, you should go to the casino and play Final Fantasy TCG. If they did that, Final Fantasy TCG would be popping. It'd be nuts. Final Fantasy TCG, it was on our easiest to learn list. It's a very easy game to learn and pick up. The complexity creep is very low. It's a slow complexity creep game. They're 20 sets into Final Fantasy, and they've added like a few keywords, but the game is still interesting and fresh. It's a really good game, but it's hard to find players for it. Because Square doesn't advertise at all. If it's going to be lower on this list, it's going to be because I don't understand Square's objective with this game. They're like physically not trying to grow their game at all. There's no advertisements. It's just they're not attempting to do anything with it. Final Fantasy reported in at 11% out of 304 votes. 11% of people reported that their LGS runs events for it. Yeah, they're advertising their TCG and MTG. 21. Yeah, it was around 20. Sorry. Round 20 is what I meant. Just to see how, I mean, the cards, speaking of how they feel, the cards feel wonderful. Final Fantasy, God, it's a good game though. Final Fantasy is either low B or high C, or mid to low B or high C, I think. Because of the company support though. It's like 100% because of the company support. I think it's going to keep being printed. Barrett tier. Nice. Yeah, Barrett. Because I don't know. They've had plenty of opportunity to stop printing it, but they haven't. Low B. Sounds good. Okay, I like that. Barrett tier. It shouldn't be with BSS. That's fair. I like that argument. That's good, Kevin. I like that. Low B. Final Fantasy's low B tier. Totally agreed. It feels good. Low to maybe creeping into mid. Like, we want to put some stuff below it. Might put some stuff below Final Fantasy. I don't think it's like the low, like, I don't think it's like the bottom of B tier, but it's in the lower end of B tier, I think. It's a great game. It's just, I need that company to do something with it. Force of Will. Speaking of games that people ask, or people say that there used to be a game called Force of Will. C, high, oh, it is, that's cute, Sulak, that's cute. High C, low B, yeah, now we're going low B. That's still around, they're still making, they are, yep, they are. But that answers everything, right? Force of Will's D tier. Force of Will is not a very innovative Magic clone, in my opinion. It had some serious momentum. It had an excited player base. When Force of Will came out, it was actually fairly cool because it was like Magic but weeby, and like no one, like, there wasn't really a game doing that at the time. But now it's just there aren't really people playing it. It's past its prime, unfortunately. You're not gonna easily find. I didn't even run a poll for this one. I knew what the result was gonna be. For this one, it's gonna be 1 or 2% of LGS's hosting events. Yeah, Force of Will doesn't have a lot of players. The game has complexity creeped a lot. The cards are insane. They're really hard to read now. We do have better Magic, Baweeby. I agree with that. Grand Archive supplants it. Yeah, if Forceville tries to resurge, it's going to have to fight Grand Archive, and that's going to be tough. All right, Limelight. Yeah, we're here. We're here for you. Grand Archive, everyone. Grand Archive. So the Jimmy Lee, hey, welcome. I love seeing these people that I know from the GA community and the people who I even some people I got to play at Ascent. Very fun. So, well, Kevin, you didn't. They were playing it at Pro Play Games. I told you that a few times. You download Twitch app to say that? Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining, Jimmy. Thank you. So the caveat to all this is that our channel has a pretty big Grand Archive base. So I'm going to be balancing my personal biases a lot here in ranking Grand Archive. They're there. I don't know what to tell you, Kev. Yeah, interesting. I love these opinions coming in. Love these opinions. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Can't find the store. Yep. Play on TTS and it's fun. Absolutely, but can't find the store. Welcoming community. Love Tamers, so S tier. Okay. Lime. Okay, there's Lime with the realistic. Yep. I like it. Okay. I'm going to preface everything here because I want to be really clear. I don't want people to come at me accusing me of particular favoritism or anything. Gameplay wise, I think Grand Archive is one of the best competitive games to play. I think it is extremely fun competitively. I think it's has extremely interesting deck building choices, moment to moment gameplay, deck style options. Lots. I think Grand Archive is wonderful to play. Company wise, I think not regional, just store champs. But well, that's actually worse. But yes, Midwest has trouble getting it, but we have it. Yeah, I'm going to try to convert you. Company-wise, Weebs of the Shore is one of the better companies running right now. They are doing a bunch of things really, really well. Here's some of the things they're doing well. They have gone from Kickstarter to full standard distribution without having to run a second Kickstarter, keeping their overhead low without growing too much. Some of these games have grown way too much, expecting to make that revenue back from Kickstarter, but they failed to do that. Grand Archive had a more realistic approach. They sold supporter packs so they could do cash prize events and pump up the prizes in a realistic way. That was very smart. They have, 2-state radius, not quite 5. Is not a radius, is a 5-state circumference, if that makes sense. Something like that. Anyway, they're doing very good things competitively. Their ELO ranking system on their upcoming Omnidex is really cool. That Omnidex is in beta and working very well, so it should be out very soon. The Proxy Vault system is a really cool way to create cards that people can proxy and put in their decks for at least an entire year after they release that. They can get real ones into the wild. So whenever a ban list happens, you actually get new cards to play with as well. Lots stay for the weird state geometry. That's funny. Good luck on your polls job, Dub. Good luck. Grand Archive is growing. Okay. And it actually is, it's doing well. The prices are decently stable. They made a mistake set 2, but they're correcting it set 3 with how they put out cases. It resulted in set 2 being priced lower. But they have made an announcement. They're correcting everything. The one thing the company does is they pay attention to what's going on. And they give you, if you pay attention to what they're doing, they give you a lot of consumer confidence in their game. And I think that's really, really good. When we did the poll, now I have to say again, this poll is probably skewed because of how many Grand Archive fans we have. But Grand Archive polled at 31% of people who saw our poll out of 413 votes. Is I think our highest polling as well. 31% reported they had an LGS that ran Grand Archive events. Which is higher than, it's lower than the top tier Bandai games, but it's triple Battle Spirit Saga. It's more than the lower tier ones. Now, I think the realistic wider number, if you count for the skew, is going to be more around the 20-25% range. But that's still good. That's still good. So that's still solid. So where do we rank it? I think Lime was pretty spot on. Top of B. Yeah, purchase way too many. Hopefully they just hold on to them because, you know, over time, they're going to, I think they're going to be, like FTC is not getting a reprint. DOA can get a reprint, but FTC is not going to. Top of B trending up. Kevin says A rank. I mean, on gameplay alone, there's a lot of reasons to put it in A. If it's an A, it's in low A. If it's an A, it's in low A, but I think high B is where I'm going to put it. High B, low A. I'm going to be conservative and put it in... I'm going to be conservative and keep it in high B. Showcash thinks A is fair. Oh, man. You guys are kind of tempting me. If you're putting the likes of Yu-Gi-Oh! In A, they can't even compare. We'll see what else goes in A. Okay, all right, guys. You're right. Let's put an A for now. We'll move it later if we need to, but let's put it in A. Let's put it in A. All right, fair enough. And by the way, welcome Showcash. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for tuning in. You guys twisted my arm. We'll put it in A for now. Grand Archive didn't get volcanic support this year. That's funny. That's funny. I like that. Fighting it to be lower rank. Wild universe. I'm not sure what you mean, but okay. Lower rank than universes, maybe is what you were saying. Peer pressured. How about Gate Ruler? Oh, I meant to change the colors on this thing. Hang on. You're not going to be able to see some of these. There we go. Change the colors. Okay. Gate Ruler. Where does Gate Ruler go, everyone? Where does Gate Ruler go on here? Your answer is one of two things. It's either what's Gate Ruler or D. Those are the two answers to Gate Ruler. As good as GA is, it's not Austin Powers. I've only seen Facebook ads for that game and it looked fake. Even my shop that does an Akora night doesn't stock this. That is so funny. Gate Ruler more like Gate Snoozlers. Yeah, top tier, Bobo. Top tier. So, okay, can I take a moment to tell you guys about what Gate Ruler did this year? So Gate Ruler released, did release a set, I think, earlier in the year. And then they had a starter deck release that was coming up with some starter deck exclusive cards. And what they did was they made a blog post where they said, actually, this is great for you Gate Ruler players. We're just going to have the starter deck cards. Instead of releasing starter decks and having you buy them, you can just print these out and play them. Print and play. And they're legal for tournament play. Because they didn't have the money, I assume, to print the starters. And they said, there will be a print of these coming in our next set next year. But for now, we're just going to release printed plays for you to play with. If your favorite TCG says that, like, instead of doing the planned release, they go, actually, how about it's just virtual? How about you just download it? That's not a good sign. You don't like the movies, but the game is good? Yo, Jub. Welcome to the Austin Powers fan club right here. Yeah, Gate Ruler is not in a good position. I actually wouldn't be surprised if that next set just doesn't come out either and it's dead. But yeah, I just don't think I could put it anywhere but D tier. It's basically dead at this point. So next up is a game that was actually officially dead this year and then came back to life officially. So Genesis Battle of Champions is a Canadian, one of the Canadian games, those Canadian card games you hear so much about. It's a Canadian TCG that is a tactical TCG. So it's like got the grid, playing cards to the grid, moving them around. And the company that was publishing it actually announced its death this year. And then another company started up with the express purpose of, just like Jasco did for UFS back in the day, with the express purpose of bringing Genesis back. Genesis is Jesus tier. Ooh, wow. Made this game up. Don't... Game Ruler, yeah. Phil Collins joke somewhere in here. I like it. So Genesis is having trouble really getting going. There are people, there's some areas that really like it. I don't like the Tavern Brawlers guys. I think they're big Genesis fans. It's a very, very, very tight-knit small community. This is one game, so I haven't gotten to look into the exact gameplay for this. I know just the broad strokes of it. I'm gonna put it in high. Ooh, I'm gonna make people mad. I'm gonna make people mad, I think, but I'm putting it in D tier. And I'm gonna get comments right now. I'm gonna get comments from people who skipped to the end and didn't read this, didn't hear this explanation or whatever, that Genesis is so good, does not deserve to be in D tier. I'm actually proud of Genesis for even making it on the list, first of all. Like, it shouldn't even be here, but it somehow is. Genesis needs to, it's basically like a random company that has no background in making TCGs came in and said, you know what, we can run this better. And there's no guarantee that that's true. And they need to get out of Canada more. They need to get into stores, but nobody's got events. If you go to the US, nobody's got events. Canada's probably quite low. Thought Genesis and Kryptik were the same game until I moved the logo. Yeah, no, they're different. Genesis and Kryptik are two different games. I think it just has to go in high D tier. The company needs to prove that they can do anything with Genesis. Otherwise, if you are looking at the list, you're like, what game should I get into? And you decide to go into Genesis, you're not going to find people to play with. I also personally just am not a huge fan of tactical TCGs. That's me. I'll just, it's not just me. I'll say that I think in general, tactical TCGs have a much harder time taking off than standard just play guys, tap them or whatever, or TCGs. Anytime you introduce that grid component, you add that kind of like board gamey component that actually turns a surprising number of people off of TCGs. Actually, let me know in chat. Do you have like, if I tell you this game, if I'm going to teach you a game and I tell you this game uses a tactical grid, does that make you more or less interested in playing the game? I'm actually really curious just to see what, like, in general, how people feel about that, or the same, or does it not affect your interest in playing the game? I would love to hear in the comments while we continue to move on here. Infinitely less interested. I think tactical and board game style distribution fit together. Yeah, I agree. It's like, it probably should just be an expandable card game model, LCG model. I don't have a sound reason, but I'll flee into the night if there's a grid. Waifu tactical grid, because I always don't want to lose my playmat. Okay. Want to play War? Yeah, okay. Interesting. Like, the Pretty Cody, that I don't have a sound reason. I think a lot of people actually echo that. Like, I don't know why, and I feel the same way. I don't know why, but I'm just not as interested in playing those. Ooh, got a nice haha from ZTR. Thank you. So yeah, we have to put Genesis in D. I wish them the best for sure, but the company needs to show that they're going to be able to get that game off the ground. But I think it's an uphill battle. And I think less people in general just tend to like tactical TCGs. Okay, Kryptik TCG. This is a fun one. This is another Kickstarter game. And when I put it on the 6 games I played at Gen Con list, I put it pretty much smack dab in the middle. And I said two things in that stuck out to some commenters. I said, Kryptik is just Duel Masters or Kaijudo, because it is. Kryptik, my vid's the only exposure. It is though. That's like literally, it's just the rule set from Duel Masters. There's a comment we had on that was like, no, it's its own game. No, it's not. It's Duel Masters, but they use magic stats. They just use power toughness and they have instants. But otherwise, it's Duel Masters. Only I don't think their system for instance is very good. I don't think their shield break system is very good. Actually, specifically, I don't like it very much. But it's fine. Like, the Duel Master system is a fine system. I also said I felt like the lore was completely meaningless, and I stand by that. Yep, Duel Masters is a solid game. I love Duel Masters too. By the way, I would clear, I love that system, but I don't think Kryptik is it, you know? Personally. Now, where does it rank on this thing? Well, also, you know, doesn't have a lot of players. It had a weird collab with eBay. Like, if we went to Gen Con this year, eBay was like handing out tons of these things, tons of like graded cards, slabbed cards, and starter decks and stuff. But I don't think that gave it any traction at all. Yeah, we played like one game. We played two, one or two. I can't remember. Kryptik. This is a weird song. Yeah, I'm gonna get this song off of here. This is distracting me. Big time distraction at the end of this song. All right. I'm putting Kryptik under Genesis in D tier. Is I think what I want to do with it. I think the system isn't bad, but I don't think it's innovative at all. You are very welcome, Jub Jub. I thought that was a weird song. You are going to take the belt to the grave, I think. I think Kryptik is going to have its fans, for sure, and that's totally cool. But I think that company really needs to show that they can get over the Kickstarter stigma. And they're not, like, unlike Grand Archive, they're not showing me that they have the potential to. I don't see the kind of passion for it that I see in Alpha Clash. I think Kryptik doesn't have a great prospects right now. Now, every time I say that can change in the future, but the prospects right now don't look very good, I think. So I'm not seeing any real hype for Kryptik, and it's probably going to stay that way. Okay, next up is Lorcana. Guys, where's Lorcana go? Everyone, where does Lorcana go? I think I know where I think I want to put it, but I'm interested to hear what you think. Game of Lorcana is great, possibly the worst launch of any TCG, and Ravensburger was woefully unprepared for it. Once we get OP next year, I feel it'll explode. B, C, D, probably my favorite game. It's C because of distributors. Showcash, it's your favorite game? I didn't know that. That's interesting. Get into it when it's purchasable. Kanto, D for Disney. Hey, yo, Tick Chick, welcome. First time chatter. Hey, welcome. Love Lorcana. Sulak, easy S tier. Tick Chick, S tier. Lorcana is like high A, I imagine. A, I guess. Anyone saying S is trolling. Second favorite right behind Pokemon. Won each 4-week league and overall league of G. Oh, nice. Congrats. Just can't get any cards. Cannot get cards. That's true. Lorcana has obviously an extremely excited fan base. Lorcana is extremely popular. There's like, they can't print enough of it. Lorcana's launch was botched. I agree. Totally. Ravensburger was not prepared. Gameplay wise, I agree with Red Deck. For me, it's a little lacking in what I'm looking for in a TCG. I have a hard, it's tricky to call it complexity. It's lacking in levers and buttons, I think. Things that the designers can play with to really expand the game without losing its really important niche as a game that's really easy to get into, and teach your kids and everything. And I think there's going to be an unfortunate mutually exclusive thing there where they can't add in more of those levers and buttons without losing that niche. Yeah, like building in more mechanics is going to be sort of a problem for it, though. Artwork is S tier. Totally agree. I think if Ravensburger and Disney can get through this launch period, they will. I've seen it, Showcash. I mean, there's more. It's I don't know. It's not for me. It added fun stuff, but it's not exactly what I mean, I guess. Like, yeah, I'm not sure how to put it. Okay, I'm gonna put out something that is going to be staying impartial in all votes. Here for the support and viewer count. Well, thank you so much, Lidoko. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna say something a little controversial, possibly a hot take. Okay, I foresee something that is a potential problem for Lorcana in the future. So, looking at how some of the cards have already power crept a little bit in set 2, and power creep's inevitable. Like, I'm not saying that's exactly the problem, but looking at how that happened in set 2. And considering Ravensburger's lack of a lot of history in sort of like having a good control over everything. And furthermore, because they don't have TCGs to their name is what I mean. Having a game where you have such a wide, diverse, new set of players where players who come into TCGs without a lot of TCG experience are usually averse to concepts like rotation. Concepts like rotation are very, very helpful for managing the power level of a game in the long term. Okay. Got late, lost the Flesh and Blood stuff. Yeah, Flesh and Blood's S tier. We're all good. Don't worry, we got you there. Yeah. They zoomed in power scaling, agreed. And I think they're going to be extremely averse to doing rotation because of the player base that they're going to garner, because I think the player base is going to react very poorly to it. And what I see as a problem in that their game is built on cards that have a distinct like lore gain on them. And that lore gain is going to have to creep up at some point. And that's going to push the game into a faster direction that is going to be... It's not what some of the players who are getting into it are signing up for right now. I think it has a potential power scaling problem in the long term with that harsh like 20 lore limit. Once you start getting things that are the 1-drops that are tapping for 2 or 3, the 2-drops are tapping for 3 lore, that kind of stuff. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, Bobo. I can see that too. But Pokemon's had rotation for a while, and Pokemon is I don't know. Pokemon's a little different. I think the weird thing going on Lorcana is the people clamoring for a competitive scene are potentially going to clamor for rotation, but that's also going to, I don't know. It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. But I'm worried about the long-term power creep, power scaling of the game. The cards have a ton of collectability. Yeah. Super good. Super collectible. Multiplayer Lorcana is awesome. Yes. It's a great game for multiplayer. I think Lorcana is A tier. I think Lorcana is A tier. It's not S tier. It's not S tier right now. There's too many problems currently, and it's A tier with I'm keeping my eye on it because I think things could turn south for it reasonably quick, but I don't think it's a game. This is a game that will sell out as long as Ravensburger wants it to. It's going to sell out as long as Ravensburger wants to print cards for it because of Disney collectors. So Lorcana is one of the safest games to get into. Now, I want to be really clear. I'm not basing everything on just like, can you find players for it? But that is an important thing if you're going to play a TCG. So this is a conglomerate of like the play of the game, which is a very simple to learn, fun game to get people into, easy to get into the game. Definitely strategy and fun stuff to explore in the game, as Showcash is talking about here for sure. The game's going to get more complex over time. I'm just not sure how that's going to pan out. A-rank game, D-rank distribution. Yeah, that's true. Yep, agreed. I think I put Lorcana in A tier. MetaZoo. Okay, everyone, where does MetaZoo go? GA should be ahead of Lorcana. Okay. I'll do that. I'll do that because I like that. I'll do it because it makes me happy. This is my list, and it makes me happy to do that. MetaZoo is a psyop. I love that take. Yeah, but Kevin, there were 13 events worldwide last week for MetaZoo. Does MetaZoo go higher or lower than Gate Ruler? Drop your MetaZoo hate in the comments. YouTube, drop your MetaZoo hate in the comments. I could make an F tier. That's where MetaZoo goes. There's only so much time, none of it needs to spend on MetaZoo. Absolutely true. Magic the Gathering. I ranked Magic the Gathering S tier last year. And then the week after I did that, they did Magic 30. Magic is not S tier this year. Magic's doing a lot of things I like still. Like, I think UniVersus Beyond is cool. I think it's cool. I think Magic has made a lot of changes in the past year that we're not going to see the full fallout of for about 2 more years. Bobo, I don't think I can put Magic at S tier. I don't think I can. Highest A is what I'm thinking, Showcash. Right. Sulak, yeah. And but Commander format's big. Commander format's big, right? Like that's a Commander format's really is fun. Cyber, I agree. I think Magic can't be S tier this year. Above GA, definitely. Yep. A, but consistently, yeah. A seems right. A's good. Highest A tier is where Magic goes. Okay. Wow. Yeah. That's okay. You'll get over it. Magic is a game that is your easiest competitive circuit to get into. Just hop on Arena, start playing it. To start playing the game, to do well at it's very hard because there's a lot of players and they're very good. Commander's extremely fun. Wizards needs to garner some goodwill again. They are struggling a little bit because of that, but Magic's never going anywhere. It's only being ranked at A here right now because they're like, Wizards is probably a company that like, you know, has their highs and lows. They ebb and flow. And right now I'd say they're on an ebb. I'd say I put them on the low end of the curve, but you know, next year they may go back to S tier. If they figure out like competitive circuits again and they start showing people how to be the best game again, then I'll put an S tier. But right now I feel like it's more like A. Yeah, and Magic complexity crept a ton too. Okay, Nostalgix. Nostalgix has about as many LGSs playing it as MetaZoo. Oh, excuse me. There's about as many LGSs playing it as MetaZoo, based on my polling at least. Nostalgix is like a really weird. Nostalgix is a game that is like meant to just be easy to play because it's very familiar, because it's like Yu-Gi-Oh plus Pokemon plus Hearthstone. Milanomi, hey, welcome. We cannot pretend that Magic isn't a juggernaut that is able to grab the innovations of the market mechanical and re-execute on a frightening scale. I agree totally that like Magic is able to do that on a scale, right? But here's the thing about Magic. I feel like Wizards of the Coast has all of the resources and all of the ability in the world to be the innovator, to be the one doing everything absolutely right. The struggle is they have a large player base, so it's impossible to please everybody at once, but I feel like there's so many things that they're doing wrong that they had no reason to do wrong. So many things that they just fumbled, and can you justify that happening? I feel like I said, I think it's an ebb and flow. I think Magic can go back to S tier next year if they just do more things right again. But I feel like we're on the flow portion of Magic, and I think I have to put it at high A tier because of that. Literally printing a set that's the same IP as another TCG currently on this list. That's a flex, but like, you know, it's still a tier higher than that game. It's still a tier higher than Final Fantasy. I don't know. I don't feel like I can put Magic at S tier. It doesn't feel right to me this year. I think it's a great game. It's not like I'm not blasting you. Magic's #1 issue is Hasbro's stock. Yep. Agreed. And this is my evidence that I'm not just ranking these by how easy it is to find players also. But speaking of that, Nostalgix is like maybe above Kryptik, I think, D tier. I don't think the game's innovative. I don't think you're going to find players. Hello, the Nostalgix critics. Yep. I remember it so you don't have to. Yeah, that's what's going on here. It's a weird game that's just kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh smashed with Pokemon, and they had a very successful Kickstarter right along Grand Archive, but now their Kickstarter for their third set is failing to fund right now. So Nostalgix is just not looking good. Bobo, you'll get over Magic being an A tier. You'll get over it. Hey, if YouTube, leave a comment if you think Magic should be an S tier or if I ranked it right. I'm curious to hear what you think. I can go either way. One Piece TCG is what this is. It's hard to see, but this is One Piece TCG. This is the next one. Forsaken agrees with me. Yes, thank you. 60 card constructed hurting compared to Commander. Yep, agreed totally. I mean, Commander's great. If Magic was only Commander and that's all they printed, and they didn't screw up phenomenally all the time, then sure, easy S tier again. Jump. I play GA exclusively, but if I were to jump into another game right now, it'd be One Piece. Watching people play, it's fun. I'd be able to pick the basics just by watching. High A for me or low S. One Piece, I can't put it in S. I can't put One Piece in S because it's Bandai's game, and Bandai is like a ticking time bomb for their games all the time. TCG Plus is terrible. TCG Plus is the worst. Oh, it's so bad. I think I can still call it a solid A tier game, even though it's a Bandai game, Bobo. I think I can. I'm going to hand this one to the Bandai fans and put it a step above Grand Archive. I'm going to put it a step above Grand Archive only because its market share is huge. It's a lot easier to find players for it. It's easier to get into than Grand Archive as well. But the company behind Grand Archive is a lot better than One Piece. Bit simple, but developing nicely. I agree. I think it is developing nicely, actually. I agree with that. It's only a matter of time before Bandai's it up. Yep. That's true. Hey, we'll see. You know, next year we'll do the list again. We'll see if Grand Archive and One Piece are in the same places. They can certainly change. We'll see. Magic can go back up to S. I'm not locking in these choices for life, everyone. Please remember that. Please remember that. Where's Pokemon Go this year? Where does Pokemon go? I forgot to say, One Piece is the best Bandai card game. That's easy. That's easy. It's the easiest to learn. That's not the only reason. Easiest to learn. It's very fun. It's a good game. It's a smooth game. It's a popular game. It just has everything going for it. It's also new enough that Bandai hasn't screwed it up colossally yet, so it still gets to be an A tier. Pokemon S tier. Pokemon S tier, 100%. We got the Pokemon lovers here. Pokemon Go to the polls. Oh my God, Kanto. Thought this was a definitive tier list. It is for me, for 2023. Drag Dan in 2037 when Bandai's completely out of the TCG market and MTG has absorbed all the TCGs currently in S tier. Do we have Pokemon haters in chat? Low S or high A? I like a lot about Pokemon handles, pre-construction products. Yep. 151 set's cool. They do things that collectors and players like. One weird thing is that the bubble has definitely popped a little bit on Pokemon from last year. I think I ranked Pokemon too low last year though. So Pokemon definitely has different art styles, but Tick Chick, one big thing is that here actually do the game optimization. Scarlet and Violet. Hey Bobo, what do you think of Scarlet and Violet's game optimization? That has nothing to do with the trading card game though. Wolfwood, no tournaments for Pokemon there? What on earth? Oh my goodness. That's wild. I'm going to explain right now where you'll be fine, Bobo. I'm going to explain right now where Pokemon is going, why Pokemon is going where I'm going to put it. This year, they made the borders silver instead of yellow. They finally adopted Japan's silver borders instead of the yellow borders. Therefore, Pokemon is S tier this year. Mic drop. I've said what I said. I have spoken. Pokemon is S tier now because they replaced it with silver borders. Silver borders, such a good change. I think it's fair though. I think it's fair to put Pokemon there because Pokemon has done well in making their competitive scene known. They have finally transitioned to the new Pokemon app, whether you like it or not, but they finally decided where they're going to be, which is good. Nah, yellow borders sucked. I'm just saying it. Energy cards are better. Yep. Nope. Agreed. Now, I'm not saying Pokemon's a flawless game. Look, S is not flawless tier. I want to be really clear. It's not like this game it has zero flaws whatsoever. But out of all the games right now, I think it's a good game to get into competitively. And another thing they've done is they've lowered the gap in between releases, English and Japanese releases. And that's huge. I think that's really huge. They're a lot closer together now, which is great. If Final Fantasy gets silver borders, goes to A tier, hey, you know what? I got to be consistent, so maybe so. Yep, good call, Tatiana. I would too. Going to be like MTG white border. Yeah, everyone's going to start coloring the silver borders yellow. That'd be funny. No, I think that's fair. I like that. I think it feels fine. It's kind of like, this is really just posturing, showing where like Magic should probably be above Pokemon, but I think their company needs to make some better decisions next year. It'll flow back in though. It will flow back in. Just right now, it's not. Sorcery. What a weird game. Sorcery is so strange. UniVersus has borders now, actually, Wolfwood. UniVersus has borders now. And actually, ooh, should we tease? Some UniVersus cards have silver borders now. They have shiny silver borders. So we'll see. Sorcery is such a weird game. It made so much money on Kickstarter and nobody can find locals to play it at because it's a casual game. It's a casual game 100%. They're doing one set release per year. You just have to play with your buddies. And if you don't have buddies that play it, you're going to have trouble playing the game. Sorcery is we have Magic at home. That's sort of true. It's another tactical grid-based game. Yeah, old school Magic, but on a grid. Let's see. High C? High C tier, maybe? Like, has potential. Like, it's carving a niche. It's carving a niche in the genre where it's like that old school Magic casual game. And if it can keep people buying the game in that niche, then that's, you know, it's at least not competing with other games for that. Does it have potential to grow? I don't think it actually has a lot of potential to grow is the weird thing. I think it's just going to sit there. I think it's just going to be that way unless they decide to release more product and try and be competitive with it. But then it's going to fight the battle of being a grid-based game. Yeah, it's going to have hardcore fans for a long time. Definitely. All right. Bushy game number 2, Shadowverse Evolve. Where does Shadowverse Evolve go on the list? Shadowverse evolved in June? I thought Shadowverse Evolve was going to be like blasting off. And it has struggled. It has struggled in the Western market now. The OP structure is very bad in the Western market. I agree. They need to figure that out. It has just not retained its players very well. TCG app tier list. Shadowverse first place S tier easy. Yes, the Shadowverse app is awesome. It like rocketed out of the gate and then fell flat on its face right away. I don't think it's D tier though. I don't think it's D tier. Like Shadowverse is probably doing better than Battlespirit Saga. I can pull up some numbers for this. Ilurifile, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, I'm excited to have a stream again. We don't quite have regular streams planned right now, just to be really clear. But I'm excited just to be putting this out there. Shadowverse Evolve, when we pulled it, had 18%. So it's doing better than Battlespirit Saga as far as player base. Locals are down on it because of meta being solved so many months before we get it. I mean, I'm down on games because of that too. Games that have that lag behind tend to get lower than me. Pokemon is maybe the one exception to that. And again, like I'm ranking it higher this time because they've closed the gap a little bit. But I don't like games that lag behind as much. So that's what, like, that hurts Digimon for me. I'm tempted to do a low B for Shadowverse. It's high C or low B, I think. The highest C. I can see that. That's a reasonable place for Shadowverse to go. The game's good though. Like, I like Shadowverse as a game. I think it's a really sweet game. B, because of the app. I mean, the app's good. The app's good. The app's fun. I kind of want to do this though. I kind of want to do this. Does this offend everyone? Is this offensive to put this here? I don't know. I might just stick with it. I think we're gonna stick with it. We might move it though. UniVersus. Not forgiven for the MTG snub. That's fine. All right, cool. UniVersus. Okay. I really like UniVersus as a game. I really like it quite a bit. I love the IPs they have coming in. The IPs for next year. UniVersus next year is getting Cowboy Bebop, Trigun Stampede. Those are fine. It's getting Attack on Titan, which I'm really pumped about. Evil Deadite, you can just leave your Attack on Titan commentary out of chat. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited about it personally. But I think this is going to go all over the place here. Yeah, sit this one out. UniVersus High B. Happy with Jetburn in particular. I agree. The card art looks great. Jetburn. Excited to see the new properties. Right between Final Fantasy and SVE. Mid B tier? Mid-low B tier? I think above Final Fantasy. But I don't think he can go higher than Vanguard. And I think this is off of the potential they have for next year, really. I think it can go higher than Final Fantasy and the reason for that is that the company is actively trying to grow the game. That's very different than Final Fantasy. Like their decisions or not, they're making decisions. They're doing things. And they're going to keep moving forward, I think, over time. Right under Digimon. I think right under Vanguard's fine right now. There's no Italian Metacross. We talked about it at the start, Kanto. You missed it. Best game, questionable company from Berlander. I can see that. I'm working on a video. I plan to post a video soon that's... Yo, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the follow. Sorry, I missed the name. I gotta catch the name here. It's important to me. Where is that? Oh, I don't see the name actually. Oh shoot, I don't know where it went. Okay, well, thank you so much for the follow. I'm sorry I missed the name. Let me know in chat who you are. Thank you. My screen was just too small. Okay. Yeah. I have a video that I'm working on right now that's going to be just like kind of an open, honest, constructive criticism video for what I think UVS games needs to do to improve. Oh yeah, I forgot UU. What they need to do to improve the game in the future. I don't know who's going to hear it. I don't know how helpful it's going to be, but yeah, they took the cash prizes out of Worlds. That really sucked. I don't like that they removed cash prizes. Yeah, they removed cash prizes, man. I'm punishing them for removing cash prizes. Stop. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate that. Right now I'm punishing UVS games for removing cash prizes and putting Final Fantasy above. I think they need cash prizes. I think they're investing so much money in everything else, like there's no excuse for not having cash prizes along with promos. They need to grow. They need to build a casual player base, though. That's the issue. They don't have a casual player base. Like, it's UniVersus is too hard to get into. It's too hard to get into, and they don't have their casual player base building. They need to figure that out. That's their number one hurdle to growing the game. Okay, WiXoss. We're gonna head towards the end here. We've gone quite long. So WiXoss is going to go. I can't believe how WiXoss is still alive. I can't believe WiXoss. I don't know. Low C. Yeah, they're always one step forward, two steps back. I agree. WiXoss is a great game. I enjoy WiXoss a lot. It's really fun. It's very niche. Very, very, very niche. Lowest C. Lowest C for WiXoss is where I want to put it. More alive than BSS? I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think WiXoss is more alive than BSS. I don't think it's true. I really think. I think there are more locals for BSS than WiXoss. Boxes do go for more than $25. I mean, that's true. But that's because they're not printed as much, Bobo. That's because it's printed a more reasonable amount. The shop that sells VGA cards has 3 tables of people playing WiXoss every Sunday? Holy cow. 1 locals compared to 0? I'm getting some blasted by the WiXoss players right now. I don't know. Okay. Alright. Fine. I'll put it above BSS. How's that? Mid-C. Right smack dab in the middle of C tier is our WiXoss. It's a good game. I like WiXoss. It's a fun game. It's a good game. And you know what? They've been doing some cool, like, English exclusive things lately. Yeah, I mean, I hope the best for them. I really want them to keep rolling. I'll put it there. I hope you're happy with that. I put it above BSS, and that's for you guys. That's for chat. BSS has 1 locals, WiXoss has 0. Whatever. Bring WiXoss to store champs too? I won't be able to. I don't have time for that. Well, I will have time. I'm gonna win all my rounds very fast. I don't know. I'm just leaving WiXoss there because I like the game. Weiss Schwarz, as Kanto would say, or Weiss Schwarz. Where does Weiss go? Forever popular casual game. Easy to find cards. Easy to get IPs you like. People don't play it. No, they don't play it. Easy to find cards for the game. Easy to collect. Be somewhere. That's reasonable. Let me pull up before I rank it, let me pull up my my polling for this one. So when we asked about Weiss, that was just yesterday, we had 18%, about the same as Shadowverse Evolve. 18% of stores saying people play it. Yeah, probably above Shadowverse. Like, as a game to play, I don't think it's a great game. I don't love it. People do love it. That's cool. I don't love the game. I think it's a good casual game. I think it's fun to play casually just because, like, you can have an IP. Like, I own a Weiss deck, by the way. I still own my Fairy Tale deck. It's got great IPs that get people excited. Do they play the game? Not 100%, but there are definitely stores that host tournaments. Like, there are definitely tournament stores for it. We have a small player base at our locals. UVS next to Weiss is so appropriate. Yeah, probably right now. I think UVS should go up, but they need to make some good decisions. Okay, well, thank you so much for tuning in, Tick Chick. We're right at the end here. Well, you'll be able to pop into YouTube next week and see where Yu-Gi-Oh lands if you need to. Have a good night.
Hi.
All right. Thank you for the follow, Tick Chick. Appreciate that. I don't know how often I'll be streaming, but we'll hopefully do some more of these. All right, Yu-Gi-Oh! Our very last one. Where does Yu-Gi-Oh! Go on the tier list? Where does Yu-Gi-Oh! Go? I think it's high B. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Yep. Out of spite. High B, low A. Highest B. Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's a forever popular competitive game. I'm not in love with how they do OP, but that's how it is. I think speed duels are really fun. I really like speed duels. I like the support for the old formats for things like Edison. Speed duels SSS plus tier. If it was speed duels alone, probably S tier. I don't know. I really like speed duels. And it's affordable to get into, which is great. The greatest king of the bees that ever was or ever will be. Agreed entirely. Speed and rush duels are SSS rank. Yeah, I can buy that. We got volcanic support. Yeah, let's go. I don't know what the second thing is, but yes. Yeah, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a fair B tier. I'll probably get in the comments saying they can't believe that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in B tier, but that's how it is. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has complexity issues. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has not the best OP circuit. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Has issues, has a stigma from being Yu-Gi-Oh! For some players too. It's a weird thing, but it's true. Like I'm just saying, like ingrained Magic players are often not interested in getting into Yu-Gi-Oh or something, and like not just Magic players, but there's just a mentality. It's a dreaming little girl archetype with ice cream monsters. Yeah, it does sound dope. Sounds sick. So I think B tier is fine. I think that's a good tier for it to be. It's with some other really great games. It's appropriately above them. Its trajectory is not really going up though. It's a pretty stable game. So it's a nice stable middle of the pack B tier. Yu-Gi-Oh is the Marvel versus Capcom of card games. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that would mean. I mean, I know what Marvel versus Capcom is, but I don't know what that would mean. And you're either down for that level of craziness or you aren't. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I think this is a reasonable ranking. Everyone. Showcash, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Yes, it will be live. Should be live on Tuesday. On Monday, we have our Grand Archive podcast, and then Tuesday, this will be live on YouTube. So you'll be able to catch it then, Stay Bug. Yeah, I think this should do it, though. Thank you guys so much for watching and for providing your feedback. It was really helpful. It was really, really helpful having all of you guys watching. I really appreciate that. Loved hearing all of the different comments. You guys did help move around some games on here. We have people happy with the list, which I really appreciate. I love to hear that people are happy with the list because the comments are going to not say that. See you, Kevin. Thank you so much. Can't wait to go trash this in the comments, Bobo. Come on, Bobo. I'm gonna get enough of that. You can give me a nice comment. Let me read this saying. Yu-Gi-Oh appalls me with its mechanical sensibilities and its full disregard for any sort of modern design accordance. But people love it. They do love it. And any feeling about it has to be second to the fact it's incredible at being what it is. Yes. And you know what? That's an important thing to note here. A lot of these games are going to have people who absolutely love them. They're games that people absolutely love and deserve to be played and deserve people loving them. I have to rank these at some point. I have to spread things out in some way. For example, like Bobo hates that I have Magic at high A tier. Realistically, Magic could be low S tier too. Like, this isn't a weird version of the list either. This is a totally appropriate version of the list too. But I think this is fine. I think this is fine for kind of the state that Magic is approaching right now. Some of the reflecting some of the decisions they've made in the past year. Oh wow! Thank you so much, Dub. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I hope the YouTube people find that because it's a really long stream, and you know you need that that watch through time. It's very helpful. But I think I'm just gonna keep Magic here. I'm gonna keep things as it is, just as sort of a statement on where I think things is, but where I think things are. But I think next year Magic could easily go back to S tier. Come on, Bobo. Be nice, please, please. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Really appreciate it. I love all the first-time commenters. It was really fun having you guys. You guys are making me want to stream some more. I don't know exactly what I would stream and how I would fit it in my schedule right now, but you guys are making me want to. B tier list, no Austin Powers. MetaZoo should be higher. Also, the total lack of Austin Powers is horrifying. Yeah, I'm not a MetaZoo fan. Sorry. I have issues with the company. I have issues with the game. It was a worthy time. Help people see the state. Yeah. I think this is a pretty good broad approach, wide perspective on how TCGs are viewed in the wider community in general right now. I think a lot of these have trajectory in different directions. Some of them are flatlining, but all this could change next year. We'll see. More Magic slander. Austin Powers tier. Sorry, I just don't have the image ready right now, so I can't just pop it on, otherwise I would. All right, I'm going to start logging off, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, YouTube, for watching. Go ahead, leave your comments down below, blast me. Give it a like if you had fun with this stream. Maybe you didn't agree with my choices. Like or dislike, whatever. Go ahead and interact with the video. It's all good. It's all good for it. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much to the people who tuned in for the live stream. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.